on this rap-ish. I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list. Hope I ain't missing my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own. Tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues. Guess if you ain't at the table, you on the menu. And I'm that spitter, baby. They don't want you to see, but everybody's south of Capitol Hill's rocking with me. Boys smoke the trays and ponder getting their life together. I'm comfortable with my role, so I'm like, whatever. Me? I ain't got a job, but I work hard. And you don't work hard, but you got a job. The irony is I'm judged while you feel the applause. I'm slept on, that's why I had to set this alarm. My dudes is armed, I'm armed with this arm charm. Body banging like she got that cream from Barry Bonds. Yeah.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
X-ray season is here, a real hitter with a mic, I'm everything that they fear. With that, hood ain't the same, I was all on their ass, I'm level-headed. So yo, my dudes love when I spaz, and I'm so over Seattle's passive-aggressive attitude. They don't call you back, what they really saying is F you. While I'm from the same place, I move at a different pace. I prefer if you just said it to my face, damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Average dudes with they average spit, writing average rhymes, knocking average chicks. The closer I get, I can feel the people starting to shift. I'm loyal to a fault, and everybody can't come with. Rap's a rich man's game, I'm only playing with change. They bang models and singers, I'm knocking my own flame, I'm different. The crowd, I move with the chosen few. Black thoughts, I could be the front man for the roots. No diamonds and gold, I'm on my sticks and stones. If we can see your panty line, you should have on a thong. My team is strong, through this fire we forged a bond. And they already know what it is when I get on. To the hearse, party like it's December 31st. When I'm on my deathbed, I'll probably crack in my nurse. You ain't got the bars to compete, I'm a verbal athlete. Deflating these boys so they say that I cheat. Damn, I did it.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Yeah. I should probably start by apologizing for the long wait, man. You know, I know I be tripping. But I'm not just a rapper, I'm an artist. And, you know, my creative process is a little bit different than most. Nonetheless, I want to welcome everybody out to the Dre's Experience. I got TCF in the building. My whole camp's here with me. I got the band in here laying this cool-ass vibe. And I'm Seattle's own. Let's get into it.
I just want to live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday Eve to you out there. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Trey Holiday, and we got a great lineup for y'all today on this amazing Thursday. Gotta bring in my guy, Big O. What up, Big O?
Trey Holiday, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Happy Juneteenth Eve, my friend. It's almost there.
Yeah, Juneteenth Eve it is. And you know, I told myself, I finally got a haircut yesterday because I said, I'm not getting a haircut until Trey Holiday comes back. Big shout out to my man Devin over there at Hills. You know what I'm saying?
Feeling nice and renewed. Looking great, my friend.
Serious. And speaking of looking great, big shout out to Ebbets Field, right? So there's a Kansas City Monarchs jersey right here, a Negro League jersey. And we actually did a really special project with Baseball Beyond Borders with Buki Gates and them, and Ebbets Field is coming out, and they brought over a bunch of jerseys. You know, Jackie Robinson started there with the Kansas City Monarchs. Different jersey when he was playing though, but like so much Negro League history and everything else. And Ebbets Field, hometown company, and a big supporter of Converge and also the legacy of Negro League baseball. So.
Ah, man, I know that made you happy. I saw those jerseys out there, man. They're looking nice.
I just wish I could wear like all of them at the same time or something. Hey, want to welcome everybody to the Morning Update Show and remind you that right now is the perfect time to tag and share the stream. Go ahead and tag and share the stream with people who you feel would appreciate culturally relevant news and information emanating from right here in the Emerald City. Oh, the director is looking cautioned over there. Everything okay? Oh, okay. All right. Um, well, let me get back into my spiel. Want to make sure and give a big shout out to our partners over at the South Seattle Emerald and also KBCS 91.3 over at Bellevue College. Want to remind everybody that you can listen to the Morning Update Show anywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast. Right there is SoundCloud, and we're putting the link in the comments. But if you listen on Apple, on Google, on Spotify, you can check out the Morning Update Show.
And the great thing about it really is that, it gives the opportunity for folks outside of Washington, even outside of Seattle, to really, stay tuned with how we're moving up here in the Pacific Northwest. And it really is great to hear that we have people listening from all over the world. Oh, it's a real honor, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's wild, man. We get listenership. Literally, our international audience is growing. I'm wondering, man, do I know somebody in Iceland? Because they're listening in Iceland, they're listening down in Bolivia. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It's all kinds of places. Want to remind everybody, and we'll put this link in the comment. Although we don't have on our Pride gear today, our limited edition Converge Media Pride T-shirts are in black and white and pink. Joey Weiser just stopped by here a little while ago, and Joey picked up his shirt, so we expect to see some Joey's always styling, profiling, looking
Joey's
good.
always styling.
And so want to remind you, limited time, go ahead and go to our website, to whereweconverge.com/shop. We also got the link in the comments. A great way to support Black-owned independent media while styling and showing your pride.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's a great thing to be able to connect with POCAN and ensure that a portion of those proceeds are going to a much needed and much deserved nonprofit that's been serving the community for decades. So that's really great also.
Yeah, and we call you Queen because you're one of the queens of Converge. But this morning, and we'll put this link in the comments too. You can go to our website. We've got a feature up there on Julia Jessie. Julia Jessie, the clapback queen of Converge. Yeah. So that's up there on our website right now, man. It's a great story. Julia Jessie, it's a great story with Julia. I was overseas 10 years ago, and Julia started following me on Twitter. In every country I'd go into, she'd ask all these questions. What do you do? How do you do this? How do you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And really, she Twittered her way into an internship when I was in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and she got hired on over there and worked over there across East Africa for 3 years. And so I've been knowing Julia for a long time, and man, she's just really thriving in her purpose here on Converge, but also a strategy and communications consultant for Washington, D.C. Council member Trayon White. So you're making moves.
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing. And I think, a lot of, her perspective is so rooted in that history that you just described, in what she's doing, how she's working in D.C., how she's, understanding the culture, literally. And so, clapback culture really benefits from Julia Jessie's legacy that she's building for herself. So it's a great thing that she's right here with us at Converge, an amazing queen.
All right, I think that's all of our pre-stuff here. People are like, why don't you guys, because we got all this stuff too, why don't you have an iPad? Why don't you have this and that? I'm old school. You see these grays in the beard? I like my piece of paper. We even got teleprompters here. We haven't used teleprompters on this show. So next up, this is big news here. Juneteenth is getting ready to become a federal holiday. Biden to sign bill making Juneteenth a federal holiday. That's from the Associated Press. Kevin Freaking is named there. So Trey Holiday, we got out of it in front here in the state of Washington, where Governor Inslee a few weeks back signed Juneteenth into to being a state holiday here. It's going to go into effect next year. And the Juneteenth holiday there in Washington, D.C., it looks like it breezed basically through both houses. In the Senate, it was passed by unanimous consent, which means that nobody objected. Mm-hmm. The Senate, they can really bog things down if they want. Right. You know what I'm saying? Unanimous consent. And then in the House, everybody voted for it except for 14 representatives. So basically, it sailed through both houses of Congress, and we're waiting for President Biden to sign it. And I think it's going to become the 11th federal holiday here in the United States of America, Juneteenth.
You know, it's so amazing. And when I think about, you know, the legacy of Seattle celebrating Juneteenth, I got to go back to Miss D. Charlene Williams, who was the first legacy member of the Central District to bring Juneteenth right here to Seattle's waters and streets. And honestly, you know, this is really a monumentous day. I think that I've heard from folks that say, well, you know, Juneteenth, we can't just get a holiday, right? It's like when folks say, oh, well, you know, we got Black History Month, but Black people are still, you know, at the bottom rung when it comes to wealth and home ownership and all of those things. But we have to be able to do a both and approach here. And I think celebrating this is one of those ways that we can do that while also continuing to press forward for those real elevated material conditions for Black community all over the nation. So I think that, you know, it's a both and. I'm excited about this, man. And I'm excited. I'm sure D. Charlene up there is celebrating with us.
Definitely. And, you know, in Seattle, it was real interesting because you had the state of Washington, you had the county, but Seattle didn't really, I don't know, it didn't really seem to take a firm position around Juneteenth holiday and everything else. Of course, it's accepted here, lots of things going on in the park. But clearly, the momentum was for the holiday on the federal level, and we're going to literally see tens of thousands of people in the streets over the weekend. Speaking of tens of thousands of people in the streets, I was sitting at home minding my business last night, and I was watching the news, and I saw Britt Moore. Britt, who's already, you know, a great friend of Converge, and Britt's always covering community in a great way over there at King 5. And I saw you in a clip with Britt Moore talking about Juneteenth.
A celebration of resilience. Last year's Juneteenth Freedom March brought out tens of thousands of people, all ending up here at Jimi Hendrix Park. A shout for justice in the name of George Floyd and a continued fight for Black lives. More than 35,000 people took to the streets of Seattle's Central District just 4 weeks after the murder of George Floyd. A moment that coincided with Juneteenth, a holiday commemorating the end of slavery on June 19, 1865. King County Equity Now organized that Freedom March as a way to present a dual message of justice and resilience.
And so many people that I spoke to that day and even now, a year later, really have been elevating the fact that they learned so much.
1 year later, community organizations are preparing for another moment of celebration and action.
We're inviting people to line the streets up on 23rd Avenue to participate in the march as we pass them.
This Saturday, 1 o'clock, the march will start at 22nd Avenue in Madison, travel down 23rd Avenue through the Central District, and eventually end up at Jimi Hendrix Park for a Juneteenth festival, a celebration of Black culture. There are close to a dozen separate events happening this weekend, all centered around the same message.
Look, we understand that, you know, there's a lot of atrocities in the history, but so much of this is about how we move forward in resilience, how we allow ourselves and maybe just need the space to showcase what that brilliance looks like.
This year's Juneteenth celebrations are in the spotlight more than ever as Congress officially designates the day as a federal holiday, with some saying true change requires action.
So I agree with both sides. Let's celebrate, but also let's continue the work.
Britt Moore, King 5 News.
All right, Britt Moore, King 5 News. So yeah, you were talking about it yesterday. It looks like it's going to be a big celebration. And not only the celebration that you guys are put together there at Africa Town and King County Equity Now, but so many other things going around the city of Seattle and in the Puget Sound area.
Yeah, it really is, I think, a testament to, you know, so many groups understanding the need for us to celebrate, the need for us to elevate Juneteenth. I mean, honestly, there was many people who did not know anything about Juneteenth. It wasn't taught in our history books. When we went to school, it wasn't taught at Garfield. I didn't learn it when I graduated from the Bulldog House. So I feel like now there's a lot of awakening and understanding about the importance of this and diving into the details, man. And that's what I love there. And so shout out to you, Britt Moore, for, you know, covering this. And like she said, there's over a dozen things, I mean, probably even more than we know of happening throughout the city, throughout the county. I know things are happening in Pierce County. So honestly, it's just a beautiful thing to see so many people get involved.
Yeah, things happen all across America. Luckily, it's a Saturday. So.
Yeah.
So we went out, and speaking of things happening in the area, got this from my buddy Sean Good over at Choose 180. This overlay here, Black Fathers Matter. And this is going on as well on Saturday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Tukwila Village. And so this is a dope one right here, elevating Black fathers in the community. Black Fathers Matter this Saturday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Tukwila Village.
Yeah, so many great things happening, and I love the elevation of Black fathers. I mean, come on, that has to be there, and wrapping it up into Juneteenth is a perfect time.
Yeah, and that's a tee up going right into Father's Day too. I don't know what my Father's Day is. Well, Father's Day is always good. Let me rephrase that. I don't know what these kids have planned.
Yeah, you know it's something.
Yeah, I bet I know it's definitely something here. And we're gonna take a break here in a second, and when we come back, we have Carol Wallace from Puget Sound Energy, PSE, in the building. Man, they're talking about some relief for some of you guys that have a high energy bill. You know, there's a lot of people impacted with COVID and their energy bill and everything else. That moratorium's getting ready to end July 31st. But I did want to make a quick mention, and I didn't have a chance to put it in our headlines today, but I wanted to acknowledge Justin Carter and everybody over there at Capitol Hill Seattle blog. And, you know, Capitol Hill Seattle blog is a small outfit, bigger than us, but a small outfit compared to some of the other media in our city. And if you go there today, you'll see that Justin Carter is talked about, unfortunately, 2 people that were murdered in the city. One was in Interlaken, and one was Sultan up there on 23rd and Jackson. And I just want to acknowledge that the Capitol Hill Seattle blog tries its very hardest to put a sense of humanity and a face on some of these things that occur in our city. It's a big news cycle here, and a lot of times people just read maybe what's in the police blotter and move on. But Justin and his team have been continuously intentional about things that impact our community, especially when people pass away.
You know, we talk about this all the time, that when you pull back the layers, when you dig a little deeper, you really get to the heart of the story there, and you're able to center humanity in it. So I love being able to give Capitol Hill Seattle blog that shout out. We work really hard to do that here, so it's great to be connected to another media outlet that does the same.
Yeah, for sure. And you can check out Capitol Hill Seattle blog at capitolhillseattle.com. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're joined by Carol Wallace of Puget Sound Energy. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers, and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Hey, it's Jake from Converge Media and Get the F Outside. I hope that all of you are taking advantage of the ability to be outdoors and enjoy nature as our summer months heat up. One other thing that you can take advantage of here in the King County area are free COVID-19 vaccinations. There's all kinds of options for pop-up clinics, and the vaccine is able to be administered to anyone 12 years and older. And did I mention that it's free? You don't need insurance, and they don't care what your citizenship status is. And that kind of sounds like the way things should be anyhow, but we'll save that for another conversation. Information and resources are available at kingcounty.gov/COVID, or you can call the COVID-19 call center at 206-477-3977. Washington, we are almost out of this, but we got to stay locked in for the home stretch. Let's get vaxxed out so we can max out our time with friends, family, and in the great outdoors.
Vaxxed out so we can max out. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. I'm your co-host, Omari Salisbury, and right now I'm joined by Carol Wallace of Puget Sound Energy. Lots of people know it as PSE. Welcome to the Morning Update Show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, good stuff. So I know that you guys have a program going on right now around COVID relief on the bills and everything. And before we get to that, though, I'm a kid from 29th and Jackson, went to Gorefield High School. All I know is City Light, and that's our provider here in the municipality. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about PSE and its service area and things like that.
Sure. PSE is a old company. We started in 1873 with Seattle Gaslight, and through a bunch of mergers and acquisitions, most notably in 1997, when Washington Natural Gas merged with Puget Power, we became Puget Sound Energy. So we provide natural gas service within the city of Seattle.
There we go. All right, I remember both of those. So it's natural gas is you're a natural gas provider.
Correct, and
Right.
electricity. We provide natural gas in the city of Seattle, City Lights, the electric, and then we provide gas and electric on most of the east side, and we have electric in Whatcom County. So it's kind of
Power company.
yeah.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, I didn't realize your roots went that far back. And when you bring up those original companies, yeah, I definitely remember those growing up as a kid. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. I'm rocking with PSE.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Okay, so now what's going on as far as the program that PSE has? I know a lot of people got behind on their bills. One thing we talk about here, we probably don't talk about enough, is utility, but we talk about rent a lot,
Right.
as you can imagine, and that's usually number one on people's list is rent and rent relief programs. But tell us about the program over there at PSE.
Sure. We have a program that's running right now called the COVID Bill Assistance Program, and it's open to income-eligible customers, and our goal with that program is to pay off your past due balance. So if you qualify, we will put a credit on your account, and your balance will be zero. So it's a really important help for people that just can't pay that past due bill, because there's a lot of customers in our area that haven't been able to pay over the period of the pandemic.
And why is PSE offering this program?
Well, it came about, actually, last year we had a different program called KCAP, which is our Crisis Affected Customer Assistance Program. Very early on in the pandemic, we saw people losing their jobs and calling us to see if we could help them. And so we used some funding that we had collected for the PSE Help program that hadn't been distributed to help customers that had lost their job. And so last year we were able to distribute over $9 million to over 15,000 customers that had just had no income. And so from that, we started working. We stopped voluntarily doing disconnections on March 10th. Anybody that had been disconnected prior to the pandemic, we reconnected them for no fee. We increased the length of payment arrangements. So not every customer is going to qualify for energy assistance, but if you have a past due balance, you can get a payment plan of up to 18 months. No late fees, no questions asked. We'll give it to you.
Man, all of this sounds real intentional.
Yeah.
Which is, I would say, it's a good thing. I mean, it's
is.
one thing to say, like, hey, the governor says we can't cut you off, and it's another thing to be like, you know what, we're going to help you with your back bill. We're gonna get you a payment plan. We don't want to disconnect you. It's the last thing we want to do. I mean, it's just a good thing. You usually don't hear that from like a power company.
Well, we're really proud that we've been able to help our customers, and with people working from home and going to school from home, power is really important. And so the reason that I'm here today is to just get the word out. When we started this, we surveyed a bunch of customers, and it was amazing how few people knew there was assistance at all available. We've always had the PSE Help program, and that's administered through our community action partnership agencies, and there's federal LIHEAP funds, and there's actually a lot of federal funds right now. So you can apply through our website, and it'll connect you with the community action partnership agency for your home.
Right, and we'll go ahead and put that website link in the comments right now. Who qualifies for this program?
So the COVID Bill Assistance Program is available for customers that are at or below 200% of federal poverty level, and that's about $3,500 a month for a family of four. And that's currently available through PSE, and you can apply online. It's relatively easy to do.
Right. What other kind of things is PSE doing as far as customer assistance?
Well, we've waived any late fees on past due balances. We're not charging those. We will not charge a reconnect fee if you do get disconnected for any reason. You can pick your own due date. Some customers only get paid once a month, and it's much easier to pay your bill when it falls right after your paycheck. So you can ask to have your due date changed on your bill. We're actually going out to customers' homes right now and giving them information about how to apply for assistance in multiple different languages. We've created videos on our website in different languages for customers that don't speak English so they can understand how to apply and what to do. And we're working with our governmental agencies. We're distributing information through the food banks in Western Washington. So we're really just trying to have every customer understand that if you need help, you can get help, and we will help you. And so it's just really important that they reach out.
Wow. I mean, it's like a full court press over there at PSE, huh?
Yeah, it's really important to us, you know, and we've had employees ourselves. We were worried, would we have to lay off our employees? And luckily we were able to distribute them to other jobs, and we managed to not do that, which has been awesome. But I know many companies haven't been able to do that, and it's put people in really difficult situations financially.
All right, good stuff. Before we let you go, I want you to do me a favor. Look right into that camera right here, the one there on the right, and you let people know exactly what you want them to do.
I would like everyone who needs assistance to reach out to us at PSE. You can go to our website and see if you qualify for assistance. You can actually self-service, sign up for a payment plan if that's what you would like to do. And you can also call our customer care center. Our agents are ready and waiting to help.
All right. Carol Wallace, Puget Sound Energy, thanks for sharing this information with us. I mean, this is the kind of information that our viewers appreciate, whether it can help them directly or help a friend or neighbor. You know, they like to share and pass things along. And I just want to acknowledge the intentionality of Puget Sound Energy of wanting to get the word out.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, no problem. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the Reverend Harriett Walden from Mothers for Police Accountability. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
I did it for the city, I did it for the love, I did it for the people, I did it for us.
Back on this rap ish, I ain't even broke a sweat, homie, this practice. Pondering my next move, staring at my track list, hope I ain't miss my window. Praying like a Baptist, Seattle's own, tired of this Game of Thrones. They made a list of the best rappers and guess who wasn't on? While the disrespect continues, I'm steady packing these venues.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Hey, it's Jake from Converge Media and Get the F Outside. I hope that all of you are taking advantage of the ability to be outdoors and enjoy nature as our summer months heat up. One other thing that you can take advantage of here in the King County area are free COVID-19 vaccinations. There's all kinds of options for pop-up clinics, and the vaccine is able to be administered to anyone 12 years and older. And did I mention that it's free? You don't need insurance, and they don't care what your citizenship status is. And that kind of sounds like the way things should be anyhow, but we'll save that for another conversation. Information and resources are available at kingcounty.gov/COVID, or you can call the COVID-19 call center at 206-477-3977. Washington, we are almost out of this, but we got to stay locked in for the home stretch. Let's get vaxxed out so we can max out our time with friends, family, and in the great outdoors.
Public Health, Seattle, King County, Zero Youth Detention, along with our partners from across the South King County region, are committed to reducing violence and creating the conditions needed for our neighborhoods to be safe and free of crime. Too often, the response to crime and violence has been a piecemeal approach with a program here and a program there. When family units collapse, schools fail to educate, the economy fails to produce jobs, and crime rises, we've looked to law enforcement and punitive measures to save us. Nothing could be more wrong or further from the truth. Law enforcement can't shoulder all the burden or take the rest of us off the hook. We are acknowledging the lived experiences of Black, brown, and indigenous communities. We are centering community as the experts who can effectively identify key issues related to systems, policies, and practices that impact children, families, and communities of color across this region. Those most impacted by the issues will help call out and identify the root causes, including structural and systemic factors. 150 residents will partner with King County to develop strategies, solutions, and an action plan that explicitly addresses system changes needed and eliminates barriers to access for Black, brown, and indigenous folks. These residents will also identify the criteria used to measure our collective success. Simply put, we need your help as we do the work needed to make King County the safest in this country. It will take specific commitments from all of us, community members, our young people, elders, and leaders from the sectors all across this region. Together, we will get this work done. Please click the link below and sign up for a work group. Or you can recommend a co-facilitator from community for each work group. We look forward to hearing your ideas, concerns, feedback, and solutions as we build a community where all our children can be happy, healthy, hopeful, safe, and thriving.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Morning Update Show. I'm so excited for this next segment because, it's not just me and Big O here anymore. We got Big O's mama, Miss Reverend Walden. Hi, welcome so much.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. Good to see you.
Yes, always a pleasure to be in space with you.
Yes.
And you guys, I would be remiss if I don't say this is the queen Capricorn of us all.
Yeah, I'm a Capricorn. I love it.
You know I was going there, Omari.
Yeah, no, for sure. My mama might be the only person that can give these guys a break down the set. I say it was a long break for us. These guys were in here moving around, trying to break down the set. Welcome back to the Morning Update Show, Mom.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I like being here.
You like being all right? Well, we like to have you too, and I'm guessing there's probably a lot of hearts in the comments right now.
Yeah, this is cool. I like media.
All right, good stuff. So I know we're going to talk about a few things here today.
Mm-hmm.
Is one, so people might not know, is that you're the founder of Mothers for Police Accountability.
That's right.
It used to be called Mothers Against Police Harassment.
That's right.
30 years after it.
Mm-hmm.
30 years after it. So we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times we have guests come in for these kind of conversations. We talk about a few other things first, before we get to it. And me and Treyana have had the opportunity to come out there because you host a radio show.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
KK and it. But you see, they got the other mics at the radio
Yes.
show. See, our mics we got right there. But we got a little bit of video right here. So there it is out there, KKNW, 1150 a.m. And you're on the radio every Monday from 2 to 3.
That's correct. 2 to 3.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the radio show, how long you've been on air, and how you feel about it?
Oh, yes. Well, listen, I've been on the air for 7 years. My time is from 2 to 3 every Monday. The goal is to keep the grassroots voice alive, not only in Seattle, but around the country. We've interviewed people from around the country, like Harriett Williams. She wrote the medical apartheid book. I mean, just lots of people from Los Angeles, New Mexico. I've been to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I did my show from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I did a show from Salt Lake City, and I did a show from Kansas City. So.
We be thinking it's a big deal when we go up the block. and you hear this, Trey. I'm always telling people like, man, Converge has been around here for 4 years and blah, 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 blah. And you hear moms is talking about 7 years on air over there at KKNW.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's always such a pleasure. I'm always grateful when I get that call from you. You say, hey, come on, what's up? Yeah, I need you on the show today. I said, hey, let me just clear out my schedule to make it happen.
I appreciate it.
Honestly, it really is an honor, and I understand that it's such a continuation of a legacy of you being so connected and plugged into community. So thank you for all your work on the show.
Well, thank you. I like for your yes. You always bring so much energy when you come. And when Omari comes in, it's like, oh my goodness, it's a big production. He comes in, he gets it like, oh, okay. And I learned so much from watching him on the air. I mean, when he's on doing my show, I learn more. I learn a lot too.
Well,
I know we got to do one together.
Yeah,
last time, so that was nice.
Yeah, I like that. See, because I'm still learning. Because I want to up my game. I want to have an excellent show. I want to be more productive and have more guests and stuff. So I'm learning from other people, and like you all, Converge Media. I take some of these clues and I say, okay, yeah, I can do better. So as long as there's life, you can always do better. So yeah, let me go do better.
Now people see where we get it from, and in that article that was in the Seattle Times 2 weeks ago, man, it was real deal. Coming back a career in media and couldn't get a job, let alone an interview anywhere, and it was like the only person that would put me on in media in Seattle was my mama. You know what I'm saying? I'd be out there. That was the best hour out of my whole week. Go out there to Hubbard Radio, to KKNW over there in Bellevue, and to be in that studio. And I mean, it was like transported in another world. And it was like, and I would tell you at the time, be like, Mom, you have no idea what this means to me. So now you're here, the studio, all this stuff, Converge, whatever. But I'll never forget coming out there to you always made space for me, man. I was
great.
So appreciative.
It's great. And a lot of times on Mondays, I just couldn't make it. We had to be in court or something else with Community Police Commission. But I knew that Omari would have an excellent show. I knew that you would have an excellent show. And again, like I'm learning from you all, excellence, it's like, yeah, you want to get your guest on and have a good dialogue and I come prepared. I mean, an hour goes really quickly. You know that. I mean, really, it goes quick. And so I used to over prepare. But now it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I got it. But I'm still learning and stuff like that. So it's all cool.
We're still learning too.
For sure. And I think that's the constant. The opportunities that we have in community media is to be so authentic, right? And always be striving for how we can be even more efficient. And so I agree with that. And I think, one of the things I really appreciate about your approach is that authenticity, right? It's like people are just, your show is just capturing you having really great dialogue with folks and really, diving into what they're there to talk about in a way that really allows folks to kind of be brought in. So,
and that's right.
It's not overproduced in that way. You know what I mean? It's really great and authentic.
Well, and that's what happened last Monday. This past Monday, I had Angela Davis on. Our local Angela Davis, and she has started the homicide circles to have a sacred space for people who've lost their loved ones. This is the first time ever in Seattle that this is happening. I was part of that sacred circle, and immediately I said, you need to come on my show because the people need to understand that there's a safe place for you to come, that you can come and talk about your loved one that's been taken away, and hopefully some of the people who are still hurting, because that hurt is real, Donita and a lot of other people, that they could come and be part of the circle. And I had the opportunity to bring that forward on my show this past Monday, so that was pretty hot.
Yeah, and speaking of when we talk about the community and the community still hurting, and yesterday we had actually put a small video together about Tyrone Love.
Oh yes.
And we've got an overlay right here.
Okay.
This was from 23rd. 23rd, this was on Cherry. In between 23rd and Martin Luther King. This was almost 12 years ago.
That's right.
When you were out there. There's a press conference because we were looking for people to come forward with information about whoever murdered Tyrone Love.
That's right.
And so kind of digging in the archives there with Mothers for Police Accountability. And
that was
you know,
breaking the silence too. We were asking people to break the silence,
Break the silence.
on this, because the silence is deafening. The silence is deafening, and that's what that was about. We kicked off that campaign with SPD, and we had a number to call for people to call. Let's call it. You know, let's do this. You know, breaking the silence. I was out there with my walking stick.
I mean, the flip side was just a real conversation. Is that, you know, I mean, we really live and work and do all kinds of stuff with killers around us.
That's right. That's
You
right.
know,
That's
I
right.
mean,
That's
our
right.
mamas and grandmamas ride the link right well, the bus, this
That's
and
right.
that, and you know, the person next to him might have murdered somebody.
That's right. Exactly.
You know, Tyrone Love's murder is still unsolved.
Still unsolved.
You know, after 12 years, and
right.
we talk about that. And I mean, it's good to hear you and different groups and organizations as well talking about how, you know, the trauma just never really leaves our community. I mean, just in a 40-second video montage yesterday, you could tell how it impacted Trayana, just, you know, seeing Tyrone Love. It's been 12 years.
That's right. That's right. And also, his mother died from a broken heart.
Yes, she did.
Yes, she did. You know, I promised her. I said, Alberta, no matter how long it takes, one day we're going to solve that case. And we're going to put pressure where pressure needs to be applied, and we're going to still do that. We have not forgotten about Tyrone Love. You know, somebody walks up and kills somebody with the last name Love. How disconnected can you be?
Well, I think whoever it was, right? I gotta say, they had no idea. They couldn't have had any clue of how beloved Tyrone was and how connected he was. I mean, Tyrone not only, you know, was gathering folks, you know, in terms of entertainment and nightlife. Tyrone had a legacy and history of working with the youth right there at Madrona. You know what I mean? At the day camp. So I'm telling you, I watched him pour effortlessly into this community.
Right.
And like I shared, you know, we really grew up together. And I remember that press conference, and I remember being there and being one of his friends that, you know, got written in the paper, because I said, look, this is not somebody who was connected to gang violence.
Right.
This is not
That's right.
somebody,
That's
you know,
right.
you can't write off these murders thinking, you know, oh, they're just, oh, there it is, blacks killing blacks, and he must have done something to deserve this. Absolutely not. And I think that break the silence was the absolute
That's right.
best way to go about this, because we do
Right.
have to do that, even still to this day.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of the things we talk about. Is, you know, Eric Calligraphy the other day, I think you saw that clip. He said our
I sure
whole
did.
community is hurting.
That's right.
Well, and which is true, but we also have to acknowledge that our whole community needs to come together on this. Now, you know, there's other stakeholders out there as far as public safety. You talk about the police, you talk about other things that are there, but you know, having a police force or even having third-party social services and everything else does not put our community members in the clear.
No,
We are the people we've been looking for.
That's right.
It's
That's
up
right.
to us
That's-
to
that's
save
right. That's
us,
right.
and it's up to us to save our youth and our
right.
community. And if all these other entities can layer on top of that, great. But you know, it starts with us caring about these young kids that are out there. It starts with us caring about our community.
Well, and also it starts with us to be able to teach the legacy, to be able to hand down the greatness of black people. I mean, like even we're talking about with Juneteenth. I mean, because really, if people understood how great we are and how much we've gone through, I mean, this is a blip in time compared to what our ancestors have gone through. And so, yeah, we can do this. I have so much belief that we can make a difference. We can do this. We really can, because we're the only one that thinks a black baby is beautiful when they put us in their arms.
Yes,
Just think about your babies when they were born, okay? That smile, and you're just so proud. It's like, oh, yeah, this is my baby, you know? I mean, and so we take that, this is our baby's energy again out into the world, and we see them, and we can say, hey, you know, like Dr. Mims always say, hi there, genius. You know, I used to call guys come at me, and I used to call them when I couldn't tie my shoes before I had my surgery. I would call them and say, hey, Renaissance man, come and tie my shoes up. They say, me? I say, yeah, you're a genius. Come and tie my shoes. I didn't know him. And then when they got finished tying my shoes up, I said, Renaissance man always pulls his pants up and and tighten up his pants. So you're a genius. They tighten up their little pants and go, oh, ma'am, you're the only person that ever called me a genius. I said, yeah, you're a genius. You know, you were genius enough to come and tie up a lady's shoes you didn't even know, you know? I mean, there's so many ways to do this. We have to bring out humanity. We have to do it from heart to heart. The children know it. I mean, young people know when you're not authentic. Everybody knows when they love, even a puppy. So, yeah.
Yeah, it starts with love, and,
Oh,
and
it
I
does.
think you're so right about that. And you know, in talking to so many of the elders, that's what I hear so much, echoing all the time, is showcasing that love, because that was really the backbone of our principles and values. When we think about legacies like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and those black towns, all those amazing black towns, it was really exactly what you're talking about, the love. And it wasn't just about your family. It was about everybody around you. It was about celebrating that love. And so I agree wholeheartedly. I think, one thing I just want to ask you is, when we talk about having those interactions with younger folks, or folks, in different generations, how do we ensure that they see that it's something that then they need to carry on?
Well, I think when we can call out their greatness and then ask them to actually share what they found and what's in them, and then they're going to remember something. And I think another thing that we should do is absolutely have them start doing their genealogy, because there's somebody in their past that they can learn something from. See, somebody in their past, a great-grandmother or somebody. It's the stories. Again, it's the stories. We have to create a new mythology. And the mythology of the people is that we are not, what we see now is not what we were. And we have to understand that this right here is an aberration on the blip of time of the history of the great African Americans, the Negro, the colored people who absolutely built America. This right here is not a true sample of who we are. Who we are is coming up with Juneteenth. Who we are is that we built this country. Who we are, that we go out every day to a hostile environment who don't like us, and we send our children, and we still go every day. That's who we are. That's why I authentically love us, because every day we go out into an environment where it's hostile, and we do our best, and we get to be fabulous like Trey, and handsome like Omai, and all this staff in here. Look at this, all these young people. That's who we are. This is the real truth of who we are. Everything else is not true. Okay, this is not the exception. This is the rule. Everything else you see is the exception. This is the rule. This is who we are. And this is how we always have been. And this is what Converge get to do, to tell that story.
I think it's important to tell that story, especially here, in Seattle. There's just the demographic makeup and everything else. There's other cities in America where, you see the negatives, but the positives, especially down south. There's 117 black colleges and universities.
Right.
So you're able to contrast and be like, oh, okay, well, this is happening here, but also this is happening there, right. And you're able to see the wins in real time. Sometimes we have to search for them here, but it's true that even the negatives aren't a true representation of who we are. They're important issues for sure, but it is definitely not who we are in totality.
No.
So wanted to talk a little bit about your work. Like I said, it was 30 years ago. Hey, I saw that video. We don't have the video queued up today. I was looking fresh back then. I had hair and everything, but I tell people are like, man, you speak in front of everybody. I was like, man, when I was a kid, my mama used to take me everywhere. Well, even before this incident with the police 30 years ago, I was smoking. My mama would take me everywhere. I was talking to everybody. She'd go out everywhere. I have no fear of talking to anybody. But yeah, man, I was 15. All those years ago, we got beat up over there in the East Precinct, and they had to drop their criminal case because, basically they said there was some evidence that disappeared. We lost our civil case because of, the officers definitely had a jury of their peers.
They had their own law firm that represented them too.
They had a jury of their peers. But man, over 30 years, you could talk a little bit about, what this has been like, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff going on today.
Well, it's been a long journey. I never thought that I'd still be doing this 31 years later. I did not. I had no idea. I stood up for my children because nobody else was standing up. My children was not criminals. The police was making everybody take the position, and that's get out the car, put guns to their heads, and wheat and seed days, and all of that stuff. But really, I knew that I had to do something. And I did, and I started with my friends. I always start with an open door. I called my friends, and we started Mothers Against Police Harassment, because that's what they were doing. They were harassing the young boys. I mean, you know, everybody jaywalk across the street from Garfield to these Elds or whatever, and only the black kids would get stopped. I mean, the jaywalking tickets was just terrible. And there was a lot of stuff going on in our community. I mean, granted, we did have an influx of Los Angeles people bringing in guns and drugs and that kind of stuff. But all our children are not criminals. And it's amazing how we know who are criminals and nobody else does. I mean, they always go pick on the kids who don't ever have a criminal record. I mean, you know, all the other people, they're not even bothering. So, you know, we stayed around here, and like I said, more than once, the police chief at that time said, "Oh, you women need some husbands. You little old women out making trouble for people. Y'all need to go home." Well, 30 years later, we never went home. We just kept at it. And then we built relationships. I mean, we stayed at the table. We do believe that you change things by being at the table. I mean, and a lot of other people have different other ways, but we believe that if you stay at the table, you'll make some friends, you'll get some changes made. I mean, we're the reason why they do have the Crisis Intervention Team, the CIT. When they killed Bodegard Mitchell, he was 84 years old, and we were outraged that this man had escaped being killed. He got killed over in Jackson in 1976, I think it was. And we started working with the police then about having a CIT. I mean, because really, I mean, a lot of times people in crisis, all people in crisis, they need help. I mean, a lot of times, and they need to be able to get up to the hospital, to Harborview. And so we worked with them. It took us about a year to get the crisis intervention training. And at that time, it was volunteer. Norm Stamper was the police chief during that time. And also they had the man who had the sword that held up Seattle for 8 hours with the sword, and then they finally was able to de-escalate that with the water hose, old-fashioned water hose. But at least they didn't kill him. They did not kill that man. And Norm Stamper said he got emails from across the country saying that, why don't you just kill him? And then he got emails from people said they had mental health people in there, people who had mental health issues in their family, and they were glad he wasn't killed. So over the years, one thing about litigations, they usually don't change in the policy, and so we've gotten policy changed over the years. We did change our name in 1996 to be Mothers for Police Accountability. You just can't be against things all the time. You got to be for something. So we were for accountability. And we've been using police accountability name that since 1990. So now it's a household name. Everybody use it, and accountability is for everyone. And the reason why we stayed around so long is because we believe that accountability is for everyone, not only for the police. The police need to change, but so does the community. Little shorties need to put the guns down. They need to stop selling dope and everything else. And teachers need to teach. I mean, accountability is for everybody. So that's what we believe. We don't just believe accountability is just for the police. We believe that accountability is for everybody. And we were the first ones to do what you do when you get stopped by the police, workshops. We taught young people that the most macho thing sometimes you can do is to be quiet. They talk too much, because whatever you say is going to be used against you. And so sometimes they just say, no, be machos, be quiet. Yeah, officer, if I'm under arrest, am I a suspect of a crime? And if so, I want an attorney. That's all you need to say every time. Am I a suspect of a crime?
That was 30 years ago.
That's right.
Doing those workshops.
That's right.
I mean, I say that, and one thing amazing, like it was 30 years ago, but I'm saying it amazing that 30 years later, there's still people doing workshops.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's a lot. You've also been a CPC commissioner.
Well, yes, I was part of, actually, John T. Williams got killed August 30th, 2010, and a group of people that was working on police accountability issues came together, restarted the MEDC task force on police accountability. And we worked on that, and a group of 34 groups signed a letter asking the DOJ to come to downtown to investigate that shooting, and they did. They found Seattle was out of alignment with a lot of places, unconstitutional policing, use of force, bias stops, and detention, and all of that. And so as a result of that, it was a consent decree entered with the city of Seattle and the Justice Department, and I was appointed by them again to be one of the commissioners. I'm the longest commissioner on there. My time is just about up because when we became established in 2017 with the legislation, we went from 15 commissioners to 21, so that's why I'm still on there. And I've been a co-chair for 5 years. This is the first time in 6 months that I have not been a co-chair. so now I'm just a regular commissioner. And the commission has done a lot of things. I mean, people sometimes don't all get everything that we have done. And we worked on a lot of policy changes for the Seattle Police Department. Most important thing is we did is that we tried to educate the people around the community around the contract, because the contract that they signed in 2018 really was no good. And now people want to defund the police. They should be working on the contract. Even if you only got 50 police officers, you're going to still have a bad shooting sometimes, and you need a better policy. The policy is hooked up in the it's all of that is in part of the contract. And so if people want to have a better police department, they need to be working on the contract and be understanding what the contract is and how the city gives away things way too much. And so that's what I would advise people to do, is to work and to just understand the contract.
Well, you know, I think so much of your work really sets such an amazing, strong foundation for what we just saw happen in this past legislative session. And so I got to ask you, as we talk about, you know, these 7 different legislative actions that really are allowing Washington State to lead the nation with regard to police reform and accountability. How does that feel for you? Because you've literally dedicated so much of your life toward this work.
Well, you know what? This is a great day for us, a great time in Washington State. And it was the families of the people who had police violence, the Washington Coalition for Police Accountability, Davina Briscoe, and those people, 17 families in the Black Caucus down there. This was a great time for Washington State. First time you had that many black people in the legislature. I mean, elected people, and they got it done. They really got it done, and the families, they carried that water. Personally, we weren't a part of that, but our name was there with the police accountability. A lot of people think we were, but it's the work that we've done for over the years that they were able to work to step into and to be part of it and carry some of those ideas, and they got it done. I'm so glad they got it done. I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day who takes the credit. I mean, the people got it done, and their loved ones is forever gone. Yeah. That's right. When Charlene and all of those people. So I'm so glad that they got it done. I'm just like, this is a Washington State with the population we have is a bellwether state. We set case law. Case law here goes across the country, and it is a bellwether state. What happens here, what happens in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, and Connecticut wind up being case law around the country. So it's a bellwether state.
Wow.
So, you know, a lot of these things, especially appointments, assignments, you talk about CPC, and you've been on so many task force and commissions and everything else, but what remains over the last 3 decades, Mothers for Police Accountability. Why don't you tell people, like, what you guys are up to now, what's coming up, how they can support?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to say that. What's coming up for mothers right now is we're still trying to build capacity again, because I spent 5 years at the commission doing that work. We want looking at our 30th. We missed our 30th year party. We don't want to miss our 31st party, so we're working on that, and we're looking for some help with that. And also, we actually would like for people to think about supporting Mother's Justice Show, because I love being on the air. It is to pay to play radio. You pay to have your own voice heard. Everything is.
Don't worry, it's not pay to play here. You come out here anytime.
Well, and so they could connect. They can support Mother's Justice Show by going to our website there and give a donation and become a friend of Mother's Justice Show. You could be a friend. You could be a friend.
And we put the link in the comments. I think Ibrahim put the link over there. Well, this is good stuff, Mom. And we're not gonna change this setback and to end the show. So we're gonna end the show like this.
Okay.
And so, but we'll start with you. Any last words here for our viewers? That's your camera right there.
All right. Well, for my last words, it's be the best you can, do the best you can, and give mercy when mercy is necessary. You know, give kindness, because that's what you're going to get back. Let's do this together. Let's work. Let's smile, and let's give what we can while we're still here.
All right. Hard act to follow, Trey Holiday.
I know. Why'd you let? She should have went last. I'm like, oh, y'all know my message. It stays very consistent because, you know, as we see with Miss Reverend Walden, I mean, I love to call her my Queen Capricorn, literally. But you got to find a way to be a part of the solution. I mean, she had something that was a catalyst with her sons and just understanding that police needed to be accountable for their actions. And now, over 30 years later, still doing that work, you guys can easily find a way to be a part of the solutions that are really going to help to change our nation. Clearly, Washington State is leading in some regards. We still have a lot more work to do. Bring yourself into the fold and find yourself as a part of the solution.
All right, yeah, good stuff. Well, this is come to the end of the show, and so we're gonna throw up our peace sign here in a second. Okay, get it ready. All right. Tomorrow it's all about Juneteenth. We'll be updating you on a bunch of stuff that's going on. We're going to be joined by Chef Trey Lamont of the Jerk Shack. We're also going to be joined by Doc. What's Doc's last name? Of Peace Peloton. We've got Katoya popping in from the YMCA. YMCA has a bunch of stuff and some of everything else. So on that note, as we get out of here, I want to remind you to go forward in your purpose, go forward in your humanity. You ready, Mom? Mm-hmm. And until tomorrow at 11 a.m., peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth in heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day.